not quite sure what we can say about Carlby other than we just feel really privileged and really blessed to be part of our local village church with, I guess, a combination of getting involved in community events, things taking place at the village hall, and trying to see how they linked in with what happened at the church. And ultimately, I guess that's making friendships in the first place. A lot of those friends, thankfully, have started to get involved in church and increasingly have found what church is about, i.e. coming to faith in Jesus, to be real for them. Significantly, I think, as those friendships developed, Lorraine, our great friend Lorraine, came along and conducted a service. And at that service, at the end of it, she offered prayer for anyone who might like to pray. And several people prayed with Lorraine after that service and in fact came to faith at that time. That was a real kickstart to a lot of things that have happened since.
So I think what Paul said about building friendships, I think that's a really key point to how the church has grown. So we set up a ladies group once a month on a Saturday morning. I remember one particular good friend, she said, yeah, I'll come, that's great, but you're not going to get me in a church. And slowly but surely, several of those ladies have started coming to the services. Several of them have come to faith. In fact, the lady that said you wouldn't get me in a church actually found faith a few weeks ago. In fact, I was chatting to her this morning in church. She was sharing how much it is a church family for her.
Even this morning, we've just finished our rogation service, which is a great time where we walk around in the sunshine with people of all ages just praying at various parts of the village. And as we do that, we see things really taking shape. And people came this morning that we haven't seen in our church before. And that again is just a continued blessing that is just such a privilege to be part of.
We had a service in the evening on Christmas Eve. I was walking along and as I came into the churchyard and the lights were coming through the church, and so I took a photograph. And when I looked at it on my phone, I could see that the church was all lit up, but along the left-hand side there was some brilliant bright reddy orange colour, and I looked up and it wasn't there. So I took another photograph. And on my phone again, I could see clearly the orangey red lights to the left of the church, looked like they were leading into the church. I think that's the Holy Spirit. It was pitch black. There was no lights on that wall at all. We really felt this was God saying, yeah, I'm working here. And that was just such an encouragement. There's been a lot of really difficult things happened, but you know, God has been there in each situation, some of them really sad, where we've had bereavements and we've had serious sickness, but we've been able to pray with these people. These people are coming continually to church, they're wanting prayer, and they're seeing that God is with them in their grief, in their difficult times. The Holy Spirit is really moving and it's very exciting.
We noticed over one weekend that there was lots of things going on in the village and in the church that were really difficult with illness and bereavement. And so at short notice we called a prayer meeting. It was wonderfully attended, and attended not just by people that you'd expect perhaps to be there, but by some that were a little bit on the edge of church. And somebody prayed a silent prayer for a particular problem that they had in their own family, and we didn't know that prayer was prayed. Later that same day, the person that prayed that prayer contacted us, and their words were, "My prayer's been answered, it's a miracle." And that person's not normally in church. They were there, and ever since that time they've been coming regularly to our home group. We feel quite inadequate, in fact very inadequate in what's going on. And there's so many other things that we really feel we've got ahead of us. So as our church grows, please pray that some of these other things, if they're right, that they'll really become firm, and they will start, and we'll have the right skills and resource to actually address them, And if they're not the right thing for now, then please that be made clear to us. And yeah, there's much, much more ahead than I think we've already seen, and it's wonderful to be part of that.